attending neurosurgeon. And I thought I was pretty hot stuff. And there came this young child from Georgia. He was 4 years old. He was a child prodigy. At age 2, he was already quoting Bible verses. But when he was 4, he started stumbling, he started slobbering, he had double vision. And he was diagnosed with malignant brainstem tumor. And they saw many people, everybody gave him the same diagnosis, told him to take the boy home, keep him comfortable, and let him die. And they ended up at Johns Hopkins. And I remember seeing that boy come into the ward, rolled on a stretcher. And his eyes were looking in different directions, foaming at the mouth, barely moving, barely breathing. I was saying, what am I supposed to do with him? I looked at the CAT scan. There was this big, ugly brainstem tumor. And the parents said, Doctor, we were directed here by God because we would find a Christian neurosurgeon who could heal our son. And I said, but this is a malignant brainstem tumor. There's nothing I or anyone else can do about this. And they said, but doctor, the Lord sent us here to see you. I said, okay, I'll tell you what. I said, let's do an MRI. MRIs were new at that time. I said, maybe it'll show something the CAT scan doesn't show. We did the MRI. All the neuroradiologists looked at it. They said, it's malignant brainstem tumor, nothing to do. I came back and told them. And they said, but doctor, the Lord. I said, okay. I said, look, 1 in 1,000 times the scans are wrong. So maybe this is some kind of inflammatory reaction. So I'll go in and I'll do a biopsy. And they said, oh, thank you, doctor, thank you. And I went in, and there was this big, ugly, grayish-red mass, and I took a frozen section biopsy, sent it off. It came back high-grade glioma, a very malignant tumor. And I took out as much as I dared until I started running across, vital structures. I said, I better stop. Closed them up, went out to talk to the parents, and I said, unfortunately, it looks like it is what we thought. And only God knows how long a person is supposed to be here. Maybe he's already served his purpose, and we'll understand it better by and by, and all the things we tell people. And they said, thank you, doctor. But the Lord is going to heal our son. As I walked away, I was thinking, I've never seen people with that kind of faith, fully expecting over the next few days he would deteriorate and die. But instead, his eyes started looking in the same direction. He started handling his secretions. I said, what's going on? I said, let's do another MRI. And we did, and there was still a big, ugly tumor. But there was a little ribbon of tissue way up in the corner. And I said, is it possible that maybe this was not in the brainstem? It just crushed and displaced the brainstem? Maybe I should go back in. And they said, by all means. And I went back in, and the nature of that tumor was different. And as I peeled it away layer by layer under the microscope, I got to the last layer and pulled it away. And there was a brainstem, glistening white, intact, smashed and displaced. Long story short, that boy walked out of the hospital, and today he's a minister. But, those are the kinds of things that build faith. And one of the oncologists told me after that, he said, Ben, I've always been an atheist. I'm not anymore. But the fact of the matter was really for me because I thought I was doing all this stuff. And I came to realize, as Vice President Pence fully realizes, that it is God, that he uses us as instruments if we are willing to allow him to use us. And Vice President Pence recognizes that the election that we're facing, it's not about Democrats or Republicans. It's about people who believe that this country is of, for, and by the people, and people who believe it's of, for, and by the government. And people who believe in our Judeo-Christian foundation, and those who think that that's a bunch of silliness. And it is so important for people to recognize that this is about not a person or personality. This is about concepts. This is about the future for our children and our grandchildren. We cannot be thrown off because we don't like somebody or the way that they say something. That's really taking the small view. And that's something that our vice president does not do. He is a man who lives by godly principles of loving your fellow man, caring about your neighbor, developing your God-given talents to the utmost so that you become valuable to the people around you, having values and principles that govern his life. And we are very, very fortunate to have with us today the 48th Vice President of the United States, Michael Richard Pence.